Hi. In this session, let us learn how to subtract fractions. Let us first look at like fractions. Suppose I have two fractions like say 13 by 15 and 4 by 15. Say I want to subtract these two fractions. Now because they are like fractions, that means to say they have the same denominator, we keep the denominator as it is and subtract only the numerators. That is, apply this mathematical operation of subtraction only to the values of numerator. That should give you 9 upon 15. Now you can either leave your answer like this, but because this can further be reduced to a simpler form, we shall reduce this or simplify this fraction. 3 times 3 gives you 9, 3 times 5 gives you 15. That's how you got your answer as 3 upon 5. Right? Suppose if I give you something like 17 upon 12 minus 9 upon 12. So how are we going to do this? They are like fractions, so keep the denominator as it is and subtract only the numerators. That should give you 8 upon 12. Because this can be simplified further, 4 times 2 gives you 8, 4 times 3 gives you 12. So your answer to this problem will be 2 by 3. So whenever you are subtracting like fractions, you keep the denominator as it is and subtract only the numerators. And whatever fraction you get, if you can simplify it further, you can reduce it to a much simpler or smaller fraction. What happens when the fractions are unlike? When the fractions are unlike, like say suppose I have 6 by 7 and say 2 by 5. I want to subtract 6 by 7 and 2 by 5. Now because these two are uh, different, that is the denominators are different, the fractions are unlike. Now you can as usual apply two methods there, that is take the product of the denominators, and for the numerators take 6 times 5, that is denominator of the second multiplied with the numerator of the first minus denominator of the first multiplied by numerator of the second. Let me show you, like method 1 where I am taking 7 times 5 and I'll take the numerator of the first, multiply it with the denominator of the second, minus, because the operation is minus here, I'm keeping the same sign minus here, numerator of the second with the denominator of the first. That will give you 30 minus 14 by 35, right? That should give you 16 upon 35. Well, this is one method. The second method is take the LCM. What is the LCM of 7 and 5? 7 times 1 gives you 7, keep 5 as it is, and 5 times 1 gives you 5. So because you got 1 and 1 here, we will stop the procedure and you have LCM is 7 into 5, which is 35. But otherwise also you know that when the denominators are prime numbers, the LCM is just the product of those numbers. Well, because we got an LCM, we will convert 6 by 7 into something where the denominator is 35. When do you get 35? That is the LCM here. You get it when you multiply 7 by 5 gives you 35. Similarly, I want to multiply numerator also. This will give you 30 by 35. Now I will convert the second fraction, which is 2 by 5, to its equivalent fraction where I will be having 35 in the denominator. When do you get? 5 times 7 gives you 35. So 2 times the 7 also should give you, this is 14 upon 35. So now you have converted both these fractions to their equivalent fractions. That's how you can write 6 by 7. I can write 30 upon 35 minus 2 by 5 will be 14 upon 35. Now once you have done this, you have converted them to like fractions. Now you can keep the denominator as it is and subtract only the numerators, which is 30 minus 14, that is 16 upon 35, which is the same answer which you got from method 1 also, right? So solving unlike fractions, that is the fractions with different denominators, is quite similar to how you add fractions also, except the fact that you have subtraction symbol here, and take you can apply both the methods, either direct method or by taking the least common multiple or LCM method. Let us solve one more problem for unlike fractions. Suppose I want to subtract 5 by 6 and 3 by 4. So how are we going to do this? We can use methods, two methods as well. Let me start with first method, where I am taking the product 6 times 4. Let me start with 5 times 4 minus, this will be 3 times 6, right? 5 times 4, which is the denominator of the second, minus numerator of the first into denominator of the numerator of the second into denominator of the first. That should give you 20 minus 18 by 24, which is 2 by 24. That should give you 1 by 12, because 2 times 1 and 2 times 12 gives you 24. So the answer is 1 by 12. Let us solve the same thing using method 2, that is take the LCM. What is the LCM of 6 and 4? Let me start with 2. That should give you 3 and 2, right? Again start with 2. This will give you 1, and now start with 3. 3 times 1 gives you 3. Keep down the 1 as it is. So now you have the LCM as the product of 2 times 2 times 3. 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 3 is 12. So the LCM of 6 and 4 is 12. Now you have 5 by 6. I can write 5 by 6 in terms of something by 12. That is a denominator. I want to convert it to 12. How do I get it? 6 times 2 gives you 12. So 5 times 2 should give you 10. So the equivalent fraction of 5 by 6 is 10 by 12. Similarly, 3 by 4, I want to convert it into some equivalent fraction with 12 in the denominator. 4 times 3 will give you 12. So multiply the numerator also with 3, that will give you 9 upon 12. So now you have converted these two fractions to their equivalent fractions, 10 by 12 minus 9 by 12. Now because they are like fractions, that is the denominators are same, keep the denominator as it is and subtract the numerators. That should give you 1 by 12, which is the same answer as you got here in both the cases, right? So it is quite simple. It's quite easy. Let us also look at how to subtract fractions when there are more than two terms. Like say, for example, I have 29 by 8 minus 1 by 8 minus say 2 by 8. How are we going to do this? Because they are like fractions, keep 8 as it is and subtract the numerators. 29 minus 1 minus 2. 29 minus 1 is 28. 28 minus 2 is 26. This will be 26 upon 8. When you simplify, 2 times 1 and this is 3. 13. 2 times 4 is 8. So your reduced fraction is 13 by 4. You understand? Suppose for any such fractions, if the fractions are more than two terms, you can also take an LCM of such fractions. Suppose if I give you something like say 3 by 4 minus say 1 by 2 minus say 1 by 3. Now how are we going to do this? We take the LCM of, let me show you, by taking the LCM 4, 2 and 3. How are we going to take the LCM? Let us start with 2. 2 times 2 is 4. This is 1 and 3. 2 times 1 is 2. Bring down 1 as it is. 3 is not divisible by 2, so keep 3 as it is. And 3 here you have, this is 1, 1 and 1. So the LCM is 2 times 2 times 3, which is 12. Now I want to convert these into the like fractions. Because I have 4 here, 4 times 3 gives me 12. So 3 by 4 will be 9 by 12. Minus 2 times 6 gives me 12. So multiply numerator also with 6. That will be 6 by 12. Minus 3 times 4 gives me 12. So multiply numerator also with 4. That should give you 4 by 12. Right? So keep 12 as it is, that is the denominator. Subtract 9 minus 6 minus 4. 9 minus 6 is 3. 3 minus 4 is negative 1. So your answer is negative 1 by 12. Right? So whenever you are subtracting fractions, the only point you have to check is whether they are like fractions or they are unlike fractions. If they are like fractions, directly subtract the numerators. If they are unlike fractions, take the LCM, convert them into their equivalent fractions, and then subtract the numerators and find the answer.